To strike first. The Earthborn Armada moved like a ghost fleet through the cosmic abyss. Over 200 warships, constructed from the wreckage of fallen Federation vessels, carried the hopes of a species once thought extinct. Inside the command bridge of the flagship Eclipse, Supreme Commander Elias Kale watched the tactical screens flicker with anticipation. His steel-gray eyes were fixed on the projected map of Vorus 9, one of the Federation's most crucial war foundries. We strike first, we strike hard. Vorus 9 falls and the Federation will bleed. Kale's voice was cold and absolute, echoing through the dimly lit war chamber. Around him, Fleet Admiral Saria Lorne and General Isaac Rhett exchanged glances. Rhett, a veteran of countless battles, leaned forward. And what if this is a trap? The Federation isn't reckless. If we walk into this blind, we risk annihilation. Before Kale could answer, an alarm blared through the warship. The holographic display flickered. Multiple unknown contacts detected. Warning, multiple unknown vessels detected. Trajectory interception, ambush imminent. On the external cameras, dozens of unidentified ships decloaked from the void. They were not Federation ships. Their sleek, jagged designs resembled nothing in the known galaxy. Then came the first strike. Energy lances tore through the fleet, shields buckled, and the first human warship exploded into fire and debris. The unknown attackers moved with precision and speed, striking like apex predators, their plasma weapons cutting through even the strongest reinforced hulls. Inside the Eclipse, chaos erupted. "This is Fleet Command. All ships, evasive maneuvers. Return fire, now!" Sub-Lieutenant Arden Voss, barely 26 years old, gripped the railings as the ship shook violently. He had trained for war, but nothing prepared him for the screams of dying crew members as the bridge was struck. In the gunner bay, Ensign Dara Solis, a former scavenger from the wastelands of Earth, activated the experimental rail cannons and fired a volley. She watched in horror as two enemy ships maneuvered unnaturally, dodging the attacks like sentient beings. They know our tactics before we even use them." The decision was clear. Humanity could not win this battle in space. "Prepare for emergency descent. Find a landing site," Cal ordered. The fleet fractured, with warships breaking formation and diving into the atmosphere of a mysterious planet below. A graveyard of gods. The world beneath them was unlike anything recorded in human history. A murky atmosphere, the air thick with toxic green mist, illuminated by twin suns that cast eerie shadows across colossal mountains. The surface was a mixture of dark obsidian rock and pulsating bioluminescent plant life, shifting subtly as if aware of their presence. Survivors emerged from the wreckage of escape pods and shuttles, their exosuits hissing as they adjusted oxygen levels. "Captain Adrian Voss," a soldier radioed, "we've lost at least 4 ships. Scanners aren't picking up stable terrain. This place is moving." Voss turned to his men. "Then we move fast. Keep weapons charged and eyes open." They weren't alone. That night, the first scouting party vanished. No screams, no distress calls, just silence. When dawn arrived, they found the remains. The corpses were stripped of armor, their flesh torn open with surgical precision. Nearby, massive footprints, clawed, segmented, and stretching meters apart, dug into the rocky ground. "We're being hunted." Then came the attack. From the shadows of the jagged cliffs, they emerged. Massive beasts, a horrifying fusion of prehistoric dinosaurs and armored insects. Their chitin-covered bodies resistant to standard gunfire. Their 6-legged forms moving with unnatural speed. One of them tore through an entire squad in seconds, its razor-tipped mandibles splitting soldiers apart. Ensign Dara Solis opened fire, her pulse rifle barely scorching its shell before it lunged at her. Just before impact, Captain Voss tackled her out of the way. "Fall back! Regroup at the command post! Now!" They barely escaped with their lives, new discovery and a desperate call from Earth. The blood of a dying star. The storm had passed, but its scars remained. The survivors of Titan's Bastion, the human fleet's temporary ground base, gathered what little they could salvage from the wreckage. The planet had not only tested them, it had reminded them of their place in the galaxy. Vulnerable, hunted, and still very far from victory. But amidst the chaos and tragedy, there was something else, an opportunity. The Discovery Dr. Rena Iko, lead scientist aboard the Eclipse, crouched beside a massive crystalline formation embedded deep within the canyon walls. The mineral pulsated with a faint golden glow, as if alive, whispering a power that humanity had never seen before. Beside her, Lieutenant Vasquez, a former Federation scientist turned human defector, scanned the formation with his neural visor, his brow furrowed. It's generating its own energy field, but the density is completely alien. This is beyond anything the Federation has ever classified. Rena reached out, her gloved hand trembling slightly as she touched the surface. A surge of energy pulsed through her suit, sending a warning alert across her HUD. It's reacting to my biosignature. A moment later, a small explosion of electromagnetic waves burst outward. Vasquez stumbled back, eyes wide. It's alive? Iko steadied herself. Not alive, but self-regulating. This isn't just a mineral, it's a power source. The implications hit them all at once. If harnessed correctly, this could be the key to developing weapons that would finally give humanity the edge over the Federation. A hard decision. Back at the Forward Command Center, Commander Elias Kale listened as Iko and Vasquez explained their findings. The holographic war table projected a 3D model of the mineral's molecular structure, one that was completely unrecognizable in human or Federation databases. Across the room, Fleet Admiral Saria Lorne crossed her arms. We don't have time to study this. Our objective is Vorus 9, not some alien science experiment. Iko's voice sharpened. With all due respect, Admiral, do you want us to win this war? Because if you do, this is how. This mineral could fuel entire fleets, power weaponry that not even the Federation could match. Lorne scoffed. And how long would that take? Months? Years? We don't have that kind of time. Silence. Then Kale spoke. Doctor, Iko, how fast can we refine it? Iko hesitated. We don't know yet, but we can start immediately. If we can find a way to stabilize the energy output, we could weaponize it within weeks. The conversation was cut short by the shriek of an incoming distress transmission. It was from Earth. A hollow screen flickered to life, distorted by static and interference. A voice came through, desperate, terrified. This is Captain Ethan Vale of the Earth Defense Fleet. Kust! We are under attack. Repeat, Earth is Zuk. Multiple unknown alien forces detected. They are not Kurds, not Federation. Then silence. The room fell still. No one spoke. Kale's hands tightened into fists, his expression unreadable. Replay it. The AI tactical core obeyed. Multiple unknown alien forces detected. They are not Federation. Not Federation. That single phrase sent chills through everyone in the room. The Federation was humanity's greatest enemy. But now, something else had come, and Earth was completely exposed. Kyle turned back to the war table, his mind racing. The decision before him was impossible. Abandon the revenge mission and return to Earth, or stay and develop the one weapon that could change everything. We need a decision. Now. The price of power. The War Council split into two factions. One side, led by Admiral Lorne, argued that they needed to immediately return to Earth. Their homeworld, their families, their very species were under attack by an unknown enemy. The other side, led by Dr. Iko and Chief Engineer Darian Hale, believed that leaving now would be suicide. The Federation was still a threat, and this new mineral could be the single greatest advantage humanity had ever seen. An unthinkable debate. Kyle stood at the head of the room, listening to both sides. He was silent, thinking, calculating. Lorne's voice was sharp. Earth is our home. We swore to protect it. If we don't go back now, there may not be a planet left to fight for, Iko countered. And if we go back without a weapon strong enough to fight, what then? What if this new enemy is even worse than the Federation? Lorne slammed a fist on the table. What are you suggesting? That we sacrifice Earth? Iko's voice trembled. I am suggesting that we think like survivors, like warriors. This mineral could give us a weapon to not just fight back, but to win. Kale took a deep breath. The weight of leadership had never felt heavier. Then he turned to Colonel Voss, who had been silent the entire meeting. "If we split our forces, do we have enough to fight on both fronts?" Voss hesitated. "Barely. We can send a fleet back to defend Earth, but we'll be outnumbered. If the enemy is as powerful as that transmission suggested, we may not survive." Silence. Kyle exhaled slowly, then made his decision. Splitting the fleet, the war for survival begins. The Eclipse and a fleet of 40 warships would return to Earth, led by Admiral Lorne. Their mission: hold the line until reinforcements could arrive. Kyle, Iko, and the rest of the forces would stay behind to mine and weaponize the new mineral. It was a gamble. The first prototype, a high-intensity plasma railgun infused with the alien mineral, was tested hours before the fleet departed. When fired, it obliterated an entire mountain range in a single shot. It was a weapon of gods. But was it enough? As the Earth Defense Fleet launched, vanishing into the blackness of space, Cal stood in the command deck and watched the stars. "We don't know what's waiting for us out there." Beside him, Iko whispered, "We never did." And so the war divided. One fleet returned to save Earth. One fleet stayed to become the destroyers of the Federation. Humanity had made its choice. Now they would see if they had chosen right. The frontier of survival, the colonization of Zeta Prime, a world once nameless to humanity, had begun. When the first scouting teams landed, they found no records of the planet's true name. The few surviving logs recovered from old star charts referred to it only as a barren, uncharted anomaly. In need of an identity, humanity named it Zeta Prime, symbolizing their determination to forge a new destiny in the unknown. An uncharted world rich in Xerium Core had begun. Humanity's engineers and scientists worked relentlessly, establishing Fort Exodus, a defensive outpost designed to withstand planetary threats. Mining operations were launched, targeting deep Xerium deposits, the mineral that could power the ultimate weapon against the Federation. But they were not alone. A transmission arrived from the unknown alien force. It was not a warning. It was an ultimatum. "This world belongs to us. You are intruders. Leave now, or be destroyed." The Humanity Council convened in the heart of Fort Exodus. Voices clashed, arguments rose. Some suggested abandoning the planet, avoiding another war with an unknown species. But others, like Commander Kyle, knew the truth. Haven 7 was too valuable, not just for humanity, but for every race in the galaxy. "If we leave now," Kyle stated firmly, "we abandon the only chance we have to ensure our survival." Dr. Iko stood beside him. "The Xerium Core isn't just fuel. It could advance our technology beyond anything we've ever seen. If we leave, someone else will take it." The council deliberated, weighing survival against war. In the end, the choice became clear. They would fight. Fort Exodus expanded, reinforced into an unbreakable bastion. Trenches were dug, energy barriers deployed, and artillery platforms erected. Humanity would not surrender this world, no matter the cost. Kale stood atop the command tower, watching the horizon as storm clouds gathered. The rise of the machines. Despite their determination, humanity faced a growing crisis. The war for Zeta Prime was stretching their forces thin. The constant attacks from the unknown alien race had left them battered. Fort Exodus stood strong, but the cost of its defense was immense. Too many soldiers had been lost, and essential machinery had been destroyed in their relentless battles. Infrastructure repairs, defense construction, and military expansion all required manpower they no longer had. The Humanity Council knew that if they did not find a solution soon, they would not be able to sustain the war. Under increasing pressure, scientists and engineers were tasked with devising a way to supplement their dwindling numbers. After weeks of intense debate, a single solution emerged: automation. "We need machines to do what we no longer can," Dr. Rena Iko proposed during an emergency council meeting. "Robots to handle construction, repair, and even reinforce our military." A silence followed. The memory of the Federation's AI-controlled war machines was still fresh. Humanity had always been wary of entrusting machines with too much power. If an enemy were to hack or reprogram them, they could be turned against their creators. Could they risk building the very thing that once helped to destroy them? General Isaac Rhett leaned forward. If we do this, it must be done carefully. Limited autonomy, firewalls stronger than any in history. We cannot afford a rogue machine uprising. Kyle, standing at the head of the table, considered their words. We don't have a choice, he finally said. If we can't hold this planet, we die. And if we can't fight back, we will be wiped from the stars. We make the machines, but we control them, no matter the cost. And so, the Titan-class autonomous units were born. These massive humanoid war machines were designed to handle both defensive and offensive combat scenarios. Smaller robotic units were assigned to fortification, mining, and repairs, relieving human soldiers of their most exhausting tasks. But the ultimate test had yet to come. To prove their effectiveness, a squad of Titan-class units, accompanied by elite human soldiers, was sent on a dangerous reconnaissance mission into the uncharted regions of Zeta Prime. The unknown terrain stretched before them, endless valleys, jagged mountain peaks, and ancient ruins of a civilization long forgotten. Their objective, to uncover the true scale of their enemy's presence and locate additional Xerium Core deposits. As the human soldiers and their robotic reinforcements advanced into the alien wilds, tension filled the air. The machines moved with precision, scanning their surroundings, prepared for any sign of an attack. Then the signal was detected. Deep beneath the surface, something was awakening.